Good morning, everybody. Welcome to SafeDefend Live. I am Dave Evans. I'm with the founder of SafeDefend, Jeff Green. I kind of got a little passionate last week. Well, guess what? Today, our topic is going to be all about what I started with last week about how we're failing our children by putting complicated solutions together and not taking care of the root cause of the problem. And SafeDefend does that. Prepare, notify, protect. Jeff, let's talk about what we're seeing, what the industry's putting out there, how it's impacting schools, how politicians are getting involved and messing things up because they're just trying to, make people happy as opposed to do the right thing.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's amazing that we see over and over again, whether it's bills that come through at various states, whether it's new solutions that come out there, they are not addressing the reality of those situations. It is really a perceived safety solution option that they're trying to put together that makes it feel safer without really providing any benefit whatsoever. And we say this over and over again, and in a chaotic situation, the more chaos that's involved, the simpler the response solutions have to be. The information flow to law enforcement, too much is just as bad as not enough. Overcomplicating communication has failed over and over again. If you look at Las Vegas, Route 91, if you look at Uvalde, if you look at most of the situations, especially the ones that happen out in public or open areas, the mutual communication between responding entities, law enforcement, different agencies within that law enforcement, it gets to the point where communication completely fails. I would guess that you've probably seen some struggles from the military side of things when the chaos levels amp up, when the stress levels amp up. We have got to make it clean, simple, and effective in our response. And most of the solutions and the attempts to do that are failing. They are just absolutely failing.
Jeff, I'm laughing because in 2001, we went to war in Afghanistan. And when the war kicked off, we had command and control assets in multiple areas directing engagement on the ground in Afghanistan. And initially it was all radios. And we were jamming each other. We were talking over each other. We were stepping on each other. There was bad information happening. So some young, smart people in the Air Force figured out a way to build a network across the globe. And they were younger, so they liked text messaging, and they figured out a way to pass data with information to the warfighter that they could see and get it and have it, as opposed to screaming in their ear when they're in a firefight. And I'm going to tell you, that changed the way we do war forever. And what I love about what you're saying is we can have all the radios in the world. We can have all the conversation in the world. At the end of the day, tactically, it is not sound. And it is not sound because we do not train teachers and we do not train administrators how to use radios. Most of our law enforcement, if your different agencies have different procedures for using radios, which causes problems. So we need to talk about integrated solutions that cut the noise, get the data to the person that needs it, and neutralizes a threat. More importantly, we need to talk about the whole gamut of this is why aren't we preventing this before it happens?
Absolutely. So two things that really, really come to mind from what you just said. We tend to think that the more radios, the more time, the more ability to talk to people during a crisis or chaotic moment, the more effective our response is going to be. But like you just showed, like we've seen it, October at the Route 91 in Vegas, where radio traffic just got jammed and failed, where the first officer at Sandy Hook, Officer Lenny Penna, told me directly, he goes, I turned my radio off. He goes, I couldn't have anything in my ear. He goes, I needed to see, smell, hear, and think my way through this. And we seem to think, let's throw more radios, let's get more coordination of response. Well, that's great after the event. That is absolutely necessary as a post-event response. But in the 3, 5, 7, 10 minutes that we are trying to end the killing, end the suffering, we have to have men and women of law enforcement on site where they need to go, with them being able to use their training and their tools to end it at that point in time. And we have to keep staff members alive throughout the whole process until that is able to happen. And thinking that by throwing more radios at it, by having two-way communication in there, you end up creating an information path that may or may not have information that's accurate, valid, meaningful, whatever the case may be. So we're actually damaging our ability to respond with many of these solutions that are out there. But back to your initial point too, being able to identify that threat is as quickly and as effectively as possible. We saw it in Appalachia. They literally had him on the radar where the FBI had come to visit his house, but they couldn't provide effective interventions. And having that identification is critical, but being able to intervene effectively is, once somebody shows up on the radar, is where we're absolutely missing the boat. And that's where, utilizing AI and understanding where somebody is on a path to grievance to be able to intervene effectively within their path, like Dr. Vecchi talks about all the time, is going to be critical in reducing the violence in our schools.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. What is the appropriate response for a fire in a school? I've got a couple things I'm going to ask you. What's the appropriate response for a fire in a school? What happens?
So someone notifies through an activation, the fire alarm. They notify law enforcement that way. They typically are supposed to calmly evacuate unless they have actionable intelligence that tells them they need to escalate their escape. But typically, we want them to be safely exiting the building. We have fire suppression systems in place, which are going to be able to help stem any potential threats as they go through. And that's basically it is. We notify, we escape, evade, or lock down if necessary, and get out and have the tools to help end the threat.
Simply, we pull an alarm where the event's occurring, pull the alarm, and we follow our process to evacuate. Do we call 911? Do we pick up our cell phone and text mom and dad? I mean, is that what we're trained to do? No, it's not. Okay. Flying an airplane. If the airplane is in imminent danger and catching on fire, what's the first thing you do?
Well, I'm going to assume you try to put out the fire.
You fly the airplane and solve the problem.
There we go.
Right?
That's the pilot knowledge right there that I don't have.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Aviate, right?
Aviate. Keep it in the air.
What's the second thing you do? You navigate. You put the airplane where it needs to be to get it on the ground safely.
Right.
What is the last thing you're taught to do as a professional pilot?
I'm going to guess start talking to everybody else around you and
communicate. You nailed it, Jeff. Communicate.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm confused. I'm a fairly highly trained operator. I have quite a little bit of experience in my belt flying airplanes and dealing with ground firefights, dealing with air engagement, dealing with emergencies in airplanes. The last thing we do is talk. Right. That's absolutely the last thing. But we're surrounded by systems and people thinking we need more communication. We need more of this. We need more of that. That are the last thing in the priority list when you're in an engagement or in an emergency or when you're trying to help someone. I mean, we proved in the 50s that a fire alarm was sufficient, and we've had no deaths from school fires since that was put in place. It's simple. Pull the fire alarm, get out of the building, right?
And with fire suppression, it's a tool to end the threat, right? Just like SafeDefend is the same approach.
We put sprinklers in, right? So we neutralize the threat. So let's just follow that philosophy. So SafeDefend, bang, bang, push the button, touch the box, notify everybody, lock down, get your stuff out, defend yourself. He comes in spraying with pepper spray.
Absolutely. That model has worked for like 75 years now of notify, respond to the threat, and get to safety, whatever that means, right? That's exactly the model SafeDefend follows. You're not on the phone with fire departments saying, here's where the fire is. You're not on the phone having multiple people needing to say, hey, look, I got to get there may be a fire over in the freshman hall. I smell smoke. So then everybody pours over to the freshman hall. You don't have any of those communication breakdowns because they come to where the threat is. Potentially the threat's been extinguished or suppressed. And then they respond based on what they can see, hear, and smell.
Well, and then let's talk about this. Cameras are great in schools. I have cameras on all my properties.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But my cameras aren't a prevention method. They're an investigative method.
Absolutely.
They're a tool to investigate. I have cameras at my house. So if somebody tears my stuff up or my properties, breaks something in my properties, I know who did it and who to go ask, hey, you broke my stuff. Let's go. Right? It's not going to prevent them from tearing the stuff up. I mean, how many Ring camera videos have you seen of somebody breaking into somebody's car in the driveway? It didn't stop them from breaking into the car because they probably didn't see it, but it gave the people who had their stuff stolen a path to prosecute them. Cameras in schools are great. You can go through the event and see what happened, but we don't have enough eyes on those cameras in a given day to make sure we prevent the threat when it happens. Is that an accurate statement?
100%. Cameras in schools for this type of event, they absolutely have a role for the fight, the petty theft, the reports, whatever the case may be, of anything inappropriate. But in a life-threatening situation, cameras become really for prosecution or training videos. That's
their evidence.
Yep, evidence and training videos later. So
okay, so let's talk about phone applications. So I'm going to look at my phone. I think I have 7 pages of apps on my phone. So bang, bang. You probably can't see my phone. That's the first. I mean, I'm 5 pages in. Now I'm going to have to find an application to notify somebody to come rescue me. Okay. I want everybody to have some common sense. I want you to don't get emotional. How likely do you think it is that your app is going to be available and updated and you're going to be able to find it when you hear gunshots go off? And be honest with yourself. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a trained combat veteran. I would probably struggle trying to find the app on my phone. Actually, I would, because temporal distortion is going to happen. I'm going to get anxious because I hear gunshots. I'll be looking to protect people, right? And now I'm trying to find an app on my phone to notify somebody. This does not pass the common sense test. And I can't believe we have legislators out there and leaders out there that don't understand that. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, you have the fine motor skill failure, and then also the processing failures that happen under stress and under chaos, right? Like if you've got a multi-step approach, it is just not going to work. And I think the other thing that really stands out, and unfortunately in Appalachia, the same thing, notification systems alone are not a deterrent. Just like that Ring camera, just like that camera in there, just having a notification solution. All of them that I can tell you, Uvalde, Perry, Iowa, Covenant Elementary, Appalachia, all had notification solutions, but that's all they relied on. There was no deterrent factor whatsoever related to those systems. That does not stop somebody from coming in. And so having a solution that gives you the ability to manage that crisis, potentially protect yourself against someone in honestly a safe a manner as you could put this in, and the way we approach it makes a difference. But you have big money companies that have radio solutions. You've got I guess the reality of the world right now is money is more meaningful than effectiveness in many cases, and we're seeing that play out. That an overly complicated solution gets installed, and it will make zero difference if there was a crisis.
That's a fact, and I don't want to get into the challenges that we face today with donations and leveraging money and power to make more money for yourself, even if it's not the right solution. We could talk about that for a month. We've seen it.
Yeah. What it comes down to is this. We have clients that truly have the best interest of their students and staff in mind.
Yep.
And I will tell you this, they have all and will go to bat to say this was the best decision they've ever made, because they know if God forbid something like this happens, they have put a solution that will work for teachers, a solution that will protect their kids, and that will get their kids and their staff home at night. And sadly, so many others are just trying to check a box or trying to listen to the marketing and the bombardment of the from the marketing aspect of it that just says, "Hey, look, this is absolutely going to work." And on the surface, some of those look really good until you say, "Hey, look, if there was a crisis, how is this going to help?" And they can't answer that.
Well, Jeff, this has been a great conversation today. It's important. And I'm going to challenge parents, teachers, administrators to do your due diligence. Ask the tough questions.
Absolutely.
Ask the tough questions before you put a system in your facility. Ask those questions. Be smart. Don't buy into the sales pitch. Don't buy into the propaganda. Use common sense, right? You got this. We got to protect our kids. We got to do the right thing. It starts with preparation and prevention, right? Let's stop at the left side of this. But if you have to respond, then let's make the response really simple and executable. So you can do it when you're stressed and things are not the way they should be and you're freaking out. Because you're going to be freaking out if you hear gunshots in the school. I hate to break it to you. You are going to be freaking out. There's no Rambos that are teachers in schools. There's very few Rambos in the military, to be honest with you. So please take the time, do your due diligence, understand what's happening to your children, and help your schools make the right decision.
It comes down to effectiveness. Do you want an effective solution that's meaningful for your staff, or do you want a solution to check a box?
Fair enough.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. What is your priority? And we're here to help.
Well, SafeDefend's got the tools. They've got the equipment to keep your kids safe, and it's not just checking a box. It's protecting everyone. Absolutely. With that, Jeff and Dave, we are out of here.